Corinne.
Hello, Nadine. How's it going?
Thank you so much for joining us here this morning. It's so lovely to have you. And our first encounter was at the Associated, is it Performance Studio? I can never remember, but APS anyway.
Yeah, Associated Performance Studio, I think.
Yeah.
We had a really great time.
We were the very first opera course, weren't we?
We were the first opera course there, yeah.
Yeah, so it was
long, but it seemed like way longer. It was like we had the most amazing time in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. So that, I think it was Alex, the baritone Alexander Learmonth, and the baritone Victor Scarby, and tenor Brian Smith Walters, and soprano Janet Fisher, and soprano Delia Lenny, and B. Bradley, and mezzo soprano and golden A singer Rebecca Louise Dale, the soprano Linda McMinn, and soprano Prudence Saunders. Oh my goodness!
And not forgetting Josephine Lonergan as
well. Oh yes, Josephine,
soprano.
I love that lady. Oh my gosh, there's just so many. And
it was such a good class.
And we're all still singing, which is so wonderful. I love that, and doing our thing in our own way, which is absolutely wonderful. But it was a very challenging course, I think.
It was incredibly challenging, but I learned so much from that course.
Yes,
I had so many flipping courses before, but I would say that course was definitely like, it was, I don't know whether it was it was a game changer, I think, for me. I'd come off I'd had my children, and so it was the thing I was doing after the birth of my daughter, where I suddenly got back into training properly, if you like. It was a really interesting time for me, because I certainly, like, vocally, confidence wise, everything else, I mean, well, confidence wise, we're always working on that, right? But but even so, when you have children, it's just like, you suddenly you are like, oh my goodness, what is this? My body's completely changed, let alone my. And so that course was like, it was such an interesting insight, and even into the mindset of just towards towards opera, because I think I was quite calm.
9:01, so I'm going to start, but we're going to come back to this conversation. So it's great. So good morning, everybody. This is Nadine Benjamin, and I'm an international soprano. I'm a certified high performance coach. I am an NLP mind coach, which means neuro, the brain, linguistic, how we speak to the brain, and programming, the paradigms and patterns that we set up in our minds, and practices that we do, or habitual things that we do on a daily basis. And what I love to do is change them from limited to unlimited or limitless, and help you to do that. So I love connecting, championing, and celebrating people. People rock. I love people. And today we have Corinne Hart, and Corinne Hart is a soprano who studied at the Welsh College, RAM, and Associated Studio, and has sung as soloist for many of the smaller opera companies around London, and up until recently was ensemble tutor for the Undergraduate Musical Theatre Course at the London College of Music, run by the University of West London. In 2019, she and her family relocated to Gibraltar with her husband's armed forces job as a Bandmaster of Royal Gibraltar Regiment, where she thought the most interesting thing to happen in the 2-year posting would be Brexit rumblings. In the first half of their tour, Corinne worked as a radio reporter and content provider for BFBS The Forces Station, where she reported on many things around the forces community, and was one of the first reporters to visit the newly erected Nightingale Centre alongside the Chief Minister of Gibraltar. After some memorable experiences with the radio station, she has now turned her hand, for the last month of their tour, to charity work, becoming chairperson of SSAFA. Is that right, SSAFA?
Yeah, SSAFA, that's the one.
Yeah, Gibraltar. Corinne is also the music director of the first military wives choir in Gibraltar, and was possibly the only MD able to rehearse her ladies on the beach during COVID restrictions. She lives with her husband, Jonathan, and her son and daughter, Max and Autumn, and Bobby, the 8-year-old Spanish rescue dog. She continues to sing and teach professionally, and like so many of us, has a few gigs pending. lovely. Now, as I always say, we're coming into the weekend, people.
Hooray!
And coming into the weekend, some people are most people going, Nadine, every day's a weekend at the moment. But I would still love you to go into your weekend, scheduling and planning and making a conscious choice about what you would love to do for the weekend. So have something to look forward to. I remember Martin Stiles, the psychotherapist and psychoanalyst that we had here a few episodes ago. You can look, they're all on YouTube now, by the way, so you can even look up them on YouTube. And he was talking about us having something to look forward to. So let's have something to look forward to, whether it's cooking your favorite meal, having a bath with candles, whether it's picking up the phone to call your mum, your dad, or your favorite friend, or watching your favorite movie. Plan it, even if it means, oh my gosh, I don't have to do anything for the whole weekend, so I'm going to plan to sleep for the whole weekend. Just plan it, make it a conscious decision. How we think is how we feel, and how we feel is how we act. And you are not in control, as we all know at the moment, because we don't know who's doing what from their ass, from their elbow, but we are in charge. We're in charge of us. We may be physically isolated, but we don't have to be emotionally isolated. So stay connected in your heart. You know, the world may be at stop, but we are not. We are still living, breathing, spiritual beings, humankind, making a difference on a day-to-day basis. Sending love on that note. So,
oh gosh, there we go into the weekend with
into the weekend. I'm like on fire this morning. I've done 90 minutes of meditation this morning, and sometimes when I've done 90 minutes of meditation, I'm not even on this plane. So
okay, this could be an interesting conversation, Nadine. I can't wait. Let's do it.
So tell us, Corinne, how did you get involved in music?
In music? Well, I mean, it's a bit of a sort of a long story, really. I mean, music.
Tell us, we have time.
Exactly. Well, I mean, probably with like a lot of people, they've probably been doing it forever. Well, I don't know. I guess some people pick it up later. But I mean, I certainly, my parents weren't particularly musical, other than they listened to the radio a lot, and they listened to, you know, my dad's got a good record collection. But I would say sort of, you know, I remember when I was really little. Maybe even like sort of in infant school. I remember a friend of mine saying to me, what are you going to be when you grow up? And I said, well, I'm going to be a singer. I mean, I never thought that I would be, you know, into opera. I think I thought I'd be the next Madonna or something.
Yeah.
I didn't think about, but I was certainly interested in singing all the time. And I remember a lovely neighbour of mine who said, Corinne, you always know the words to things. You know, you always know the words to all the songs, which is great because, you know, I always forget them these days. But she was just lovely, and she, you know, she used to say, "Oh, you're always singing." So I think I was just singing all the time. But I mean, I learned later on in primary school. I learned we were very lucky to have free music lessons with our primary school, and I think I was only supposed to take up one, but actually, I seemed to sneak the system a bit. I learnt E-flat tenor horn, which is basically a brass instrument, like sort of looks like a little euphonium. And I also picked up the clarinet, and for £1 a week I used to go to guitar lessons as well. So I was absolutely obsessed. As soon as I could learn an instrument, I thought, that's it, I want to do that, that's what I want to do. So I would go along, and I dropped the clarinet eventually, and I'm not a very good guitar player anymore either. But I continued to play my brass instrument, and I used to do things like Gwent Youth Brass Band in South Wales, and a lot of brass ensembles like the Ask Brass Band and things like that. So I was always, you know, I was really into it in a big way. And when I was 14, I was really lucky to be able to go to Hereford Cathedral School, which is it was a boarding school, but it was also a choir school. Now, it wasn't a choir school for girls; it was only for boys, which really annoyed me. And it's we'll talk about that another time. It's slightly anyway, but their music tradition there was really strong. Now, I never really, I was always interested in singing, but I joined their choir. They had a sort of a girls' choir, if you like, and I was used to sort of singing, oh, I don't know, sort of just like we used to sort of pop tunes in my other schools. We used to do sort of, you know, or just fun, maybe fun. I want to say fun. It wasn't not fun, but just kind of light-hearted stuff, musical theatre stuff, which was cool. And I loved all that stuff. But when I joined Hereford, we looked at a piece by Monteverdi. Well, I'd never even heard of the guy, and it was all this, you know, coloratura, all this, you know, singing, squiggly singing, let's call it, all in different choirs. This was mind blowing to me, and I thought, okay, I want to know more about this. So from there, well, as time went on, I joined Hereford Choral Society, and weirdly, we did another Monteverdi piece. They're very into their early music over there, and we looked at Monteverdi Vespers, and that was the first big concert I'd ever done, and it blew my mind because, you know, you suddenly got these singers out the front doing their thing, and I thought, that's what I want to be doing right there. That's what I want to be doing, what they're doing at the front there. So I went on to do the Three Choirs Festival. I don't know whether you've heard of that. It's with Hereford, Worcester and Gloucester. They have a festival chorus. So I joined the festival chorus, and we got conducted by, I think we probably got conducted by a few people, but I remember Richard Hickox. He was just incredible. Bring in, and I think it was Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra as well that was playing. Sorry if I'm saying the wrong people, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was in my mind. Fading. And yeah, we did just the most incredible week. I think it was a week long. Yeah, I'm sure it was a week long of all these massive concerts, and people would come from all over the globe to see us singing, you know, all these amazing oratorio works. Sometimes they were new, you know, brand new pieces that were completely off the scale and we'll never hear them again. Some of them were really nice, but others were just incredible. And one piece we did, I could just remember it. It was just, it made me cry because I was just, you know, it was just so incredible. Was that we did the War Requiem, the Benjamin Britten War Requiem, Richard Hickox conducting, and you had the brass going on in one section. You had the, you know, the guys singing out in the I don't know what they were, in the balcony somewhere. And I thought, this is amazing. Is this a job? This is incredible. No, this is what I want to do. So that was my entrance into sort of classical music world. And, you know, I've sort of never really looked back. It's always been about singing all the time.
I love that. Grania Gillett is saying, lovely ladies, morning. As well as being a wonderful singer, Corinne is also really adept with websites and an amazing artist. Love that. And Marika, we'll get this right.
Poor Marika.
I know. Marika, she's saying, morning, gorgeous ladies. I'm still working on it, Marika, but you see, my corrections are getting quicker by the second. So you're a military wife.
I am, yes.
You know, and I watched the film Military Wives the other day, and I bawled my eyes out. And I was just interested to know, A, what is it like being a military wife, and B, how does it compare to the film?
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, it was an incredible film. Really good. You know, I enjoyed it a lot. It made me, like you said, it made me cry. It was really sad, and really good, and really, you know. What's it like being a military wife? It's a good question because, you know, as with all of us, it's a different experience for all of us. But I think, you know, and it's not just military wife. I think that's what some people forget. Like these days, because I think that film was probably set back in early thousands, maybe, or middle. I think it was middle of the 2000s sometime. Things have changed so much as well. So, you know, you're not talking about like on the patch that I am. So a patch is where we all live. That's what we call it. Or I think the patch on the patch, or in the Navy, I think they call it a pad. But that might be the house. I get the terminology wrong all the time. On the patch where I live, you know, you're talking about there's such a mix of people. So it's military wives, yes, but there's military husbands as well. Plenty of women here are serving. In fact, even the head of our RAF here is a woman, and you know, with 2 small. Yeah, no, she's incredible. She's amazing. And of course, it's a lot of guys with beards. You know, they're in the Navy if they've got a beard. So what's it like? And you know, and also, you know, there's same-sex couples here. There's single parents here. So being a military partner is just it's a different experience for everybody. We're all coming from very different places as well. Like, you know, I mean, some have never. I was speaking to some of my ladies the other day. You know, a couple of them actually, they lived in Portsmouth before they were here, so there's a lot of Navy here. And they were born in Portsmouth and they were raised in Portsmouth, and they've never been anywhere else, and suddenly they're here in Gibraltar. So you can imagine that that's like a totally different experience for them. You're here with like a language that you don't really understand, and you know, and you're in a, it's only 7 miles long, this little peninsula. And because of COVID, of course, we regularly getting this border shut, so we're all on top of each other, and it's I mean, it's an interesting life. I'd like to say overall it's a privilege, to be honest, and I don't mean to sound like sort of weird when I say that, but I am. It is, yeah. But it is a privilege life. I feel very much like I live in a bubble. We lived before here in London. And well, I wasn't, you know, we were living, it's funny because before London, let me go back a bit more. I'd had my son in Southend, and you know, we just moved to Southend. I was unmarried, we didn't have a house, you know, and it was very much of like, have baby, make friends. And weirdly, a lot of people that would have been all right, but I find it really, really difficult. I was reading something this morning actually in the news about loneliness and parents. And I remember feeling so lonely when I was in Southend that it was, you know, I thought when we made the conscious decision to join the army at that point, I'm going to try my best to, like, you know, I need to fit in, I need to make some friends sort of thing. I didn't have to try. I was so privileged to be able to land in London and just I remember I was quite, you know, pregnant at the time as well, and I went out the back and I went, "Hi, how are you?" These poor mothers, and one lady that only just had a baby herself, I was like, "Hi, how are you? Quick," you know, it's always like, "Please be my friend," you know. I didn't have to try. They were just automatically like, "Yeah, you're one of us now," you know. And there's that lovely connection that you have being a military wife. All your, you know, partners are basically doing the same job. They know the same people. You all have those similar experiences, and you know how, you know, sometimes when you're meeting new people, you want to connect onto those similar experiences maybe and feelings. But even though we were from very different places, you know, we were, you know, getting on really well, and it was lovely. So from I think probably from that time on, it for me, because we had that community, and that was what was so important. We were so there for each other. It was it's been a real privilege, and you know, and what with everything else, we lived in London. It was great. We're just on our doorstep, queue down the road. It was, you know, we were crazy lucky.
I love what you're talking about, community. I think that's become so much more important at the moment in terms of how we connect and who we connect, and remembering that sometimes, like what you're saying, not everybody is as privileged to have a community around them, and that we have to pay mind to that and pick up the phone to them or get in contact with them to make sure that they're okay.
Well, I never realized how, before I joined the military community, I never realized how important that was. And I often think about, you know, back to when there was sort of like mining communities in Wales, and about how, you know, when that community was taken away, it's not just a job, you know, it's not just that, it's something else. It's that bond that you have with your neighbor, you know, to know that you can kind of rely on them. I mean, you don't need to live in their pockets, but you know, there is that sort of that outreach there, that, you know, where you can, I don't know, bond.
No, my one of my singing teachers, Anthea Parish-Track, she was talking about that yesterday, the Welsh community, and how that kind of gets, you know, how you know, how when that was taken away, you know, how it destroyed some of those communities and the fishing, you know, and stuff like that. She was talking about that last night. So it's funny that you should bring that up. We need each other. We are human beings. We need each other.
Absolutely, it's so important. It's just, you know, it's in Gibraltar, it's really important. So I'm talking about these ladies coming from Portsmouth who, you know, have never been anywhere else. And some of them only just joined the Navy or the Army or the RAF, whichever one it is. And, you know, I'm very lucky to be the first MD of our Gibraltar choir here. And we have an incredible bond here. It's just, you know, we started off so small, and we did wonder whether, you know, this lovely little choir was actually going to survive, because, you know, it would be like just a couple of us sort of getting together going, okay, let's come through stuff. They're not, you know, I say they're not singers. They are singers, of course they are, but they're but it's not, they have never done what, I mean, I was so lucky to do when I was younger. I had all of that music available to me. And for some of these ladies, if not all of them, you know, they're coming in and they've never really had that choir experience before, but they just want to join to be part of the social thing.
The social network.
Network, maybe. Yeah, well, actually, yes, the network, because even the Issue-Wise Foundation, that the network is pretty amazing. I mean, I probably can't speak about it very much because I'm just
don't put yourself in any
no, it's fine. It's but there's just so many opportunities with joining and just with being part of this choir. In Gibraltar, you know, we've probably done more socializing than we've done singing in the last in the last year, because we're a year old now. Just because, you know, obviously we weren't allowed to, but we did Zoom rehearsals, and then as soon as we could, we were out on that beach. Singing singing those songs from the movies, and the movie that that's just come out, and we're just having a really lovely time. And the ladies get together in small groups and in socially distanced situations, and they have such a giggle. My goodness, the photos that come back, I'm like, oh, okay.
But it is really important what you talk about. You know, you said when we started we were so small. It's what I'm really saying to a lot of people at the moment. Even though what your desire is, or what you're feeling, or your instinct is at the moment is telling you to start something, even if it is small, start it, because the giant leap, or that giant leap of faith, starts with the smallest step. And you know, look at you, you're now a year old. That's amazing.
Yeah, and we're 15 strong. We're not a very big patch anyway. Many people living here. So, you know, we've got 15 ladies, I think it's 15, it could be 16. And, you know, they come to choir and we hoot through some carols, and it's just so lovely. We see each other, you know, and it's like parents or people on their own, or, you know, or whoever it is. And, you know, we have a slice of cake and we have a good chat, and we do a bit of singing. Sometimes I really work them hard and they don't like it, but that's the way it goes.
What you were saying, I think we're all rediscovering that there is such a thing as society, contrary to the dominant political ideology of the last 40 years, and that's a beautiful thing. Very much so.
It's lovely to hear as well. Obviously, you know, I'm slightly cut off from the UK, and it's so lovely to hear of these similar things that happen in you know, in my friends' local streets. And, you know, I'm sure it's always happened, but you know, you just don't hear about it. And when you do, you just like, your faith is restored, isn't it? And it does give you life. It does give you life to hear, actually, oh, do you know what? People will be there for their neighbours. People will be there for, you know, that person who you haven't heard from recently, you know, knock on the door. Hey, how you doing? You're okay. that's the thing.
So tell us. Your subject matter is out of my depth, question mark. What do you mean by that?
Oh gosh, yeah. What do I mean by that? Well, when I arrived in Gibraltar, there's not a lot of singing opportunities here. Let's just put it that way. So I thought, what else could I do? What can I turn my hand to? And there happened to be this job that turned up with my local radio station. And I'd never really done things like that before. And, you know, I'd always sort of stuck to the sort of the music teaching, the music, you know, and some singing. And thought, well, come on, you know, it's time to try something new. And I'd be so lucky to do that job, because if you try to get a job like that in the UK, you know, it's really cutthroat, you know, so you're going to be a radio reporter, right? So well, I joined, and they said, oh yeah, we'll train you and everything. Oh, they did train me. They did train me to a point. Bless their hearts. A lot of it was to do with them. Like when I joined, they were like, okay, we're running up to Christmas. We're not going to have much time to do, you know, too much training, but can you help do this? And I was like, okay, so, you know, we did a Christmas event, and I had to go around and sort of recording all the various bits of the British forces, singing. Oh, I always forget what it's called. It's the Slade song. It's Christmas, you know, when they're shouting. Yes. That. Oh gosh, if I never hear that song again, it'll be too soon. Anyway, but I had to get them all singing like a line, like the groups of the RAF, groups of these, you know, big burly Navy blokes with beards, all singing and Slade, and they really didn't want to, but I got them to do it. And yeah, they'd all sing these lines, and then I had to get on a computer and learn very quickly about how to mash all this together. And so that was fun, that was good. So it wasn't really reporting as such, and it's kind of in the grounds of what I understood. Yeah. But when everything went into lockdown, I was suddenly asked to go up to this Nightingale Centre, this new Nightingale Centre, and interview, like, our Chief Minister is basically our Prime Minister. Oh, wow. And so we had to go. I'd never done anything like this, and then I arrived, and of course, you know, I'm not the only one from the press there. And literally everyone from the press is there going, you know, I didn't even know which end to put the blooming mic. And everyone was very cool, because our stuff is also quite antiquated. Like, because our little radio station is really small. Yeah. And then and they've all got these, like, you know, and knew exactly what question to ask, and which, you know, knew exactly, and you know how to get. There's me looking like a right idiot, just whizzing around, going, just following this poor guy, you know, around this Nightingale Centre. Well, anyway, that's one thing, but yeah, so I mean, in the end, luckily, the head matron there, she gave us sort of a speech, if you like, and I could just get the material I needed, which was cool. Yeah. But you know, there I was standing in this Nightingale Centre. I mean, I'm not in medicine. I'm not, you know. It was quite overwhelming. Rows of empty beds that were potentially going to be filled. And then being taken around to the squat, because I didn't mention it was in a sports centre. So it's in one of these massive, like the Nightingale Centre was in the sports hall, if you like. And then we went round to the squash courts, and those are the rooms where people were going to die. Basically, that was, and I was a bit like, okay, this is massive. You know, I don't know, I was not ready for that at all. And I think when they were talking about it and just how they were going to cope with that and what they were going to, I thought, these people are amazing. What am I doing? I am out of my depth here. I don't, you know, that's what I kind of felt. But it was an amazing experience as well. Luckily, in Gibraltar, we haven't had to use that Nightingale Centre at all. In fact, it's been mothballed. We've had very few deaths here. We're very lucky. But it's, you know, but what an eye-opener, do you know what I mean? Because that's not going to be the same case for everybody's Nightingale Centre, and or hospital, whatever it is. But you know, but I just, it was a case of, wow, I had to go and sort of sit with myself and really think, okay, that was a bit crazy, but I did it. I did it. I had that experience. I didn't know what I was doing with my microphone. I didn't know who I was reporting on, but I got something out onto the radio, and it was fine. And I did it, and I can do it. And I think I've always felt like that about so many things, whether it be like motherhood or or almost singing. Gosh, you know, how many times have we gone, oh my goodness, I'm a fraud. What am I doing?
Absolutely.
You know, I don't know many. I remember my own singing teacher when I was, you know, early on, not my one now, but you know, thinking, oh, what am I doing? It's like, no, don't you say that, because if you're saying that, you know, what am I doing? But it's funny how we just have these moments of, oh my goodness, what are we doing? And what we tell ourselves. But actually, you know, we do have these skills. They are there. And actually, a lot of these skills that we use, whatever job we're doing, it's very human. They're very human skills most of the time. I mean, yeah, it's great to be academically knowledgeable. Of course it is. And, you know, and know what's on the paper. But there's a part of every job, I feel, I hope, that is very human, and that we should never feel we're out of our depth, really, because there comes a point when, you know, you just need to give a part of yourself across.
Amen.
No, do you know what I mean? And you should trust that, because there's no one here, like you said to me, everyone has a voice, everyone has something to say, and something to do. So whether your passion is maybe, I don't know, crafting, or maybe you're a surgeon, maybe you're a please don't feel out of your depth if you're a surgeon.
But they do. No, but this is real. They do. That's because everybody's got to start somewhere, you know.
That first experience of anything you do, you know, breathe deep. And you're not, it's about, you know, just finding that human contact as well, because I think that will help you through, even if you're, you know, academically knowledgeable. You know, you need the human part as well, because that's what makes you cope, I guess. It makes you that just makes you alive. So there we go.
We had a Reverend Reg Tan on yesterday. And she was talking about, we all already start with our source. We start with who we are already. All the gifts that we have are already inside us. When we go to school, when we go to colleges, you know, the teacher is only there to entice out what is already within us.
Very true.
Yeah. So
what you want to bring out, it's what you want to, you know, cook up, if you like, you know. I wouldn't tell yourself ever that it's not possible. I have to say this to my children, obviously, you know. You know, my daughter was doing a physics test the other day. She went, Mom, I'm going to fail this physics test. This is terrible. And I said, look, you know, if they taught it to you, if you're interested, you're going to do well. Don't worry about it, you know. And if you don't, no one's going to ask you what you got in your year 7 physics test. That's what you worry about.
Exactly. Marika is just saying, that's fantastic, Corinne. Just goes to show that persistence is in keeping the idea going, and wonderful to hear the choir has grown such legs over the year. Marika looks after many choirs as well. She's been a great kind of trooper in that department. And
incredible.
And keeping everybody happy with her a cappella things as well. Better do one today. Do one for the weekend, Marika. And we'll be expecting a good Christmas one as well. And then she will make us laugh. And Josephine Lonigan's here. Hello, Josephine.
Hello. We love you.
Very lovely to see you. So in terms of being out of my depth, I mean, I loved what you said about, you know, that we can feel out of our depth when we're singing. I think sometimes people think the longer that we sing, that, you know, the more we should have it together. But I think sometimes in order to grow and to get to the next level of what is waiting within us, we have to take risks. And in taking those risks, you know, it is going to feel sometimes a little bit like we're out of our depth.
Yes. But I think if, you know, you're given these skills, and it's just a case of, you know, you just have to put your foot on the ice sometimes. I know that sounds really weird, but it's you just do sometimes have to just be really brave and go for it. I mean, I'll probably tell myself this take my own advice, but not be fearful of things, because actually, I don't know, people only ever want you to do well. I'm watching Strictly at the minute. My goodness, I love Strictly Come Dancing. You only ever want people to do it. You're not watching it thinking, go on, fail. I mean, if you are, go and see someone. But and I'm pretty sure it's got to be the same for us. When you open your mouth, you can do it in rehearsal. You can do it in your own practice space. You probably have like an A-star game, but bring your, don't worry about not bringing your A-star game, because actually, people want you to do well, and they'll hear what you're doing, and so just be brave and
yeah, but you bring up a good point, and it's the first time I've ever thought about it like that. Actually, it just landed in my consciousness. That, everybody else wants us to do well. It's only us that thinks we're going to fail.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody else is thinking we're going to fail, apart from us. So it is our responsibility to take charge of the mindset of that. That's why I do so much work on mindset, which is what you were just saying, like I have to listen to my own advice. I have to take on my own suggestions.
Yeah.
We have to be in charge. And if you are somebody who auditions or who does a show and you get really trembly and your nerves is really affecting your practice or your performance, go and get some coaching, go and get some tips on that, and do speak up about it.
Yeah,
because there is help for you.
Actually, as well, those people as well. I mean, I think some people are like quite put off by the greatness, if you like, of some coaches or singing teachers, but those people want you to do well as well. Exactly. And you mustn't be like, oh, they're a big name, my goodness, they're not gonna think I'm rubbish or whatever. I should think, well, I hope they do. I mean, I'm not speaking for them, I have no idea, maybe but if they're a good coach, they're going to want you to do well. So it's like, so go and find that help. Great people out there who want you to do well.
And I think creative insecurity is something that has to be continually worked on. I think it's something I remember I was speaking to a singer once, and he used Paul McKenna's book called Confidence, and along with that book is a CD. So if you can't afford to see a coach or see someone around that, maybe look into that book by Paul McKenna, which is called Confidence, and it's got a hypnosis CD that you do for 30 days at the end of it. I just remembered that. So in terms of tips, for people who are feeling out of their depth, what would your 3 tips be, my lovely?
They were like, I did write them down.
We like organising.
All right, okay. So in fact, I wrote it down. I've written on the wrong piece of paper. Here you go. So your initial hunch is usually correct.
Yes.
And so many times I thought, I knew that. I thought that. That's what I was thinking. Why didn't I say it? So trust your instincts. That's a really important thing to remember. Your initial hunch is usually the correct one.
I really get that. Just around the initial hunch is normally the thing.
Yeah. There's something, isn't there, that that tells. There's that little voice that's telling you, you know what, and you should, just trust your instinct, trust that voice. Okay.
Because I notice when you don't. Sorry, I just to go on. I notice when you don't, or when I don't follow that hunch, there's a consequence.
Right. Yeah, and it's usually
a massive one.
Yeah.
So I've learnt to do that, So
yeah. Okay. Cool. Right. My second tip. Okay. So whatever comes your way, remember your sense of humour. Just remember to come back to your sense of humour. Whatever comes your way. I mean, obviously, if it's something terribly sad, then you have to deal with that. But remember, you do have to come back to your own sense of humour. You have to have a laugh. And I'm so lucky, I'm so lucky I have that my husband, he's terribly funny, and we laugh all the time. And it's just really important to remember to laugh and find the people that you laugh with, and just try and make light of things. It's a coping mechanism. It's I have to sort of turn up at the patch, make friends. I can't be too serious or too upset about leaving what I've left behind. So let's just be fun and have a laugh and have a giggle, and we really do here, you know, the ladies.
No, again, I really identify that with that. I went to do a recording the other day, and I went to go do a recording, and I came to the B flat or the B in the B flat or something in the tune, and I just completely came off my voice. I can't remember the last time I've done that, but I was so cold on the day, you know.
Right. Yeah.
The late Jeffrey Talbot always said to me, Nadine, you can't sing if you're cold. And I was like, I'm going to sing. I'm just going to warm my voice.
Yeah, right.
And then I got to my B flat, and I was like,
oh gosh, that's like me every day.
So
if you're angry with it, or if you're annoyed, you know, sometimes you're like, oh, for goodness sakes, you know, I worked on that and it hasn't come out today. If you like that, it just gets worse, right? So laugh, and just you know, find that in an appropriate moment. Find it.
I laughed at that moment, and I went,
yeah, exactly. You know, let's just see this for what it is, you know.
Exactly.
Cool. All right, my third and final tip. So I really love the saying, what is for you will not pass you by. And it's just to let go of perceived failures and embrace the opportunities in front of you. So don't worry too much about, you know, what's gone by, or if you feel like you've failed at something, you know. Everything's a lesson, isn't it? Everything's a lesson. And you just have to move on and use it to your advantage in your next opportunity. Yeah. You know, whatever opportunity is in front of you. And take advantage of those opportunities, big or small, you know? So don't worry. I mean, well, I say big or small, then nothing is small, really. Everything is big, but you might perceive them as being small. Yeah. And just really, you know, it's funny because, you know, I've been doing some painting and over lockdown when I can't be singing, on some drawing and everything else. And I thought, you know, this is the first time since school I've really done some painting. I'm going to put something in an exhibition. And I put my own painting into a local exhibition here. And it was used for because my paintings are quite, I don't know, illustrative maybe. Yeah. And so the children used my paintings to do copies of, you know, they all came to this exhibition and they used it to copy and, you know, it was all about the NHS portraits. I don't know whether you've heard about that. It was going on in the UK as well. So this portrait sort of exhibition thing. And it was all about painting frontline workers. Yeah. And so I did this. One guy's got a very big beard here, our health minister, huge beard. And I painted him. And but of course, you know, the kids loved it. They loved this, and they would copy that. And wow, you know, what an opportunity! I wouldn't have done that in a normal year. I would have just been like, oh well, I just put that painting, you know, in the back of the cupboard, and maybe I'll see it again one day. It's just about taking even those sort of small opportunities that you think are small, but actually, again, you know, like you said before, it's just planting that seed, isn't it, and allowing it to grow. So so what is for you just, you know, will not pass you by. Don't worry about not singing right now. Don't worry about those opportunities that you feel aren't happening. Not really happening for anyone. No,
I love it. I say that all the time, that life is for you, and I always say that what is for you will never pass you. I always say that because I think there's a humility in that as well, and there is a sense of centered faith. Yeah. When you know that, you know, within yourself, there's a sense of centered faith. We've got two people here now going, oh, Marika's just saying, noted, I better get on it. Yes, you better. Saying, trust your instincts, great advice. And Marika is saying, OMG, that's amazing. Is there no end to your talents? I love that you're starting painting again. Inspired a whole bunch of kids to try their hand at it too. Oh, bless you. Thank you, Marika. So listen, on top of that, though, you know, as Grania stated at the beginning, what's this thing about websites?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So.
Oh, okay.
During lockdown, you know how it is. I took on some, you can do lots of online courses, can't you? At work, at BFBS, at the radio station, I was supposed to be in charge of the Facebook account and also the Twitter account as well. And I was learning a lot BFBS, amazing company. They've got this whole, they do their whole own course about social media.
Company?
BFBS. It's the radio that I was, it's British Forces Broadcasting Station. There you go. And they're brilliant. They've got their own sort of social media course. That I can't get on for love nor money because everybody wants to do it. It's a really good one. But I just thought, well, look, you know, I've got this time to do some training online and have a look at what's going on. So, you know, I really looked into building. I was always quite interested in sort of building websites, if you like, just designing them more than anything. And so I did some courses in just, you know, what would look good, something to do with graphic design, something to do with social media marketing as well. And I learned so much about all the free apps you can get on your phone and how to make a nice video. And I'm sure I probably sent you some stuff as well about adding your closed captions, which is really, really important.
You can send it my way.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's just, you know, for... just, you know, the subtitles, just adding those, and making videos and fun videos and things like that. It was really great. So what I did, bless Grania, but I said, I'll help you with that. I'll help you with your website. And so I made her a couple of websites, which was really fun. And I did a little bit of work on my own, and you know, and I've got a few more that I'm going to have a look at. So that was quite useful. Just, and also, you know, and I really do enjoy drawing. I draw caricatures all the time. And yeah, so I use those as well.
I love it. You see what I mean? Like, you know, I think this time, you know, is showing us, you know, how many things we can turn our hand to.
Yeah.
And actually, I think what your question, whether you are out of your depth, actually you're very much in your depth. You know, it's that thing of, you know, it's already inside us. The force, you know, I'm a sci-fi fan.
Me too. So that's okay. You're in good company.
Yeah, so the force is in you, you know, it really is. And, you know, all these different parts of us are our lightsabers. You know, your singing, your website making, your drawing, you know, they're all parts of your kind of gift, you know, that Yoda was saying, focus the mind, focus the mind, focus the mind. And when you focus the mind, you know, you realize that you can do, I mean, Jedi, I just say, just effing do it, you know, but that's
when it comes down to it, just effing do it.
Yeah.
Instead of all this chat, off you go.
That's what I have for that. Do you know what I mean? You know, because we do. We have this force. All of us do. There's none of us are special or unique in that way. But common sense isn't always common practice. And so being able to put all those things put your hand to all those things and to believe in yourself, to trust yourself, to be able to say, like, I've got this, you know, and I'm just going to take a tiny step. And because the bigger picture needs tiny steps. What are those tiny steps like? That's the big goal. Now work backwards. What needs to be done in order to create that bigger goal?
And also, it's not always, and sometimes when you work backwards, even if it doesn't lead to where you thought it might go, you've got it, you're learning all the time in that path. And if it ends up somewhere else, don't worry, embrace that. That's great. You know, there's no yes, you have a goal, but be prepared for that goal to be different and just as rewarding.
Yeah, Philip and Barnett, who also did his talk on here, he spoke about starting new projects, and he says anytime we start new projects, it's a sapling. Right. You don't know whether it's going to grow into an acorn or a willow tree or or whatever. It's exactly what you're saying. So prepared for the tree that, you know, that arrives. You know,
and I think it's and just embrace it, because like I said in my third tip, so I've got knowledge to impart, but you know, it really won't pass you. What is for you won't pass you by, and it's not, you know, you don't have to win the competitions, and you don't have to win, you know, you don't have to have the big gigs or whatever it is, or get the big job. That's not what it's about. And in fact, sometimes that's really not what it's about. And actually, when people do get that, they realize, actually, no, this is not.
I didn't want it anyway.
Yeah, that's not what the quality of life I was looking for.
Exactly.
I must admit, you know, coming to Gibraltar, you know, I have learned. So when I was in London, I love London. I can't wait to be back. Yeah. But I haired around like some crazy lady trying to fit in everything. Like I was trying to fit in a sort of 25-hour day, which just doesn't work, right? Yeah. And I realized when you come here, when you come to the Mediterranean, people, it sort of goes very far the other way, which you know, if you're used to the lifestyle of London, it's quite frustrating actually, because you're like, oh my goodness, you know, please, let's not wait 2 years for a bank account. Let's not, let's pay for things with, you know, with a credit card or with a debit card or whatever it is, you know. But sometimes it can be so frustrating. But what I learned is actually they take the time here. They take the time here to live. Mm-hmm. They take the time here to be with their friends and their family. Yeah. And wow, what a quality of life. They might not realize it all the time, but what a quality of life, because you stop and you realize, actually, no, that's what's making me really happy, actually, is the time to be. I mean, I think sometimes I wonder if they take it a little bit too much because I want to be working, but it's taught me that actually, no, we do need that time. It's not always about the big prize. It's sometimes about the little ones too.
But sometimes that is the big prize. I was living in
what you perceive as the big prize. Yeah,
I was living in London, and 8 years ago, I moved by the sea. I love living by the sea.
Yeah. Well, me too. Yeah. I wonder what I'm gonna do.
My lifestyle slowed down by 100, and I have made different life choices because I live by the sea. I walk downstairs and I walk across the road to the sea and I walk along the beach, which means my life is scheduled very differently from when I was in the rat race of London.
Yeah. And don't you think as well that has like almost improved your singing?
Yes.
You know, like the quality, just because you have that time to relax, to it's so important, because otherwise you're like this all the time. Exactly. And you know, that moment to be in nature wherever it is, and it doesn't have to be by the sea, it can be you know, in your park, it could be anywhere, but taking that time to just really just don't fill your day all the time with I need to do stuff, I need to be doing stuff, I don't need to be, you know, my family's being looked after somewhere else, or my friends I don't need to see my friends now. No, take your time. Take time, just and schedule it, like you say, into your day.
That's what I say. I say schedule your rest time as well as your busy time, because I think that's really important, because when we don't make that time to schedule our rest time, we don't have it. And I think that is an issue. And I think that's where we get ill health and burnout. And make time to write cards for family and stuff like that. It's really, really important. No. We're gonna have to close the show down. It's been so great talking to you. But Marika says, OMG, that's amazing. Is there no end to your talents, Corinne? I love that you're starting painting again, inspired a whole lot of bunch of kids. And then she's saying, I'm in awe, your trailblazing through this lockdown lark, so inspirational. So true about lifestyle choices versus career chasing. Love, 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 love.
Oh,
isn't that wonderful?
All the love is coming straight back at you. More videos, please, Marika, because they make my life.
Oh, Corinne, it's been so wonderful. So
lovely to speak to you too, Nadine. It's been far too long, and
no, it has been far too long. You know, and just all the things you do and all the light that you're sending out. You know, a wonderful mother, military wife, soprano, you know, website maker, radio host. I mean, you know, yes. You know, drawer, like, you know, artist on every level. It's really fantastic to see your many colours, your many palettes, and your courage, your persistence, and your intelligence around it all, and your spirituality around it all as well. Thank you so much for being
No worries. Thank you. That's been lovely. Good giggle.
I cannot wait to hear your golden voice soon.
It'll come.
Magical voice, it'll come. Really magical frequency, and I can't wait. As Graham Danby says, get us singing La Traviata. Watch this space. So, and Marjorie's saying so much wisdom. And Gabby is saying positive energy in buckets, so inspirational. There you go. So listen, thank you so much for joining us. Love you. Take care, everybody. Thank you for being here. Please have an amazing weekend. Make that your choice to have that amazing weekend. Be in charge of that because you deserve it. And we've loved having you. We look forward to seeing you on Monday. Because we're coming out of lockdown next week. So I've only got one more week. I think I've got 4 more days of this now.
Wow.
So yeah, just see you next week, Monday, and send in love. Bye, bye, bye.